INLO is a school where disability awareness is celebrated all year long. The student body is comprised of scholars from all over the Triangle and represent a range of talents, skills, and abilities. Students with disabilities are included in the general education curriculum alongside their non-disabled peers as much as possible. INLO High School serves over 300 students with individual education plans. IEPs support students who may have specific learning disabilities, serious emotional disabilities, autism, speech impairments, other health impairments, intellectual disabilities, traumatic brain injuries, visual impairments, or hearing impairments. Instruction for our students with exceptionalities builds upon our individual strengths. All students with disabilities are served by their case manager and supported by the entire INLO community.
Well, it makes me think of a journey. I think something that you have to overcome. I don't think it's a problem.
It's quite different to how I saw it before. Before, it'd be like disability, I'm like someone that can't do something quite as well, someone that's maybe not in the same pace as everyone else. But now I'm like, it's normal. I mean, more people than you know would actually have some type of disability, whether they want to admit it or not, and it's not something you should hide.
I guess I would define disability as being or coming about when people, their experiences are outside of that normal range.
The first word that comes to mind is underestimated. People think of the word disability and think that it means that you are incapable of something or just not as able to do different things. They think that it limits you. And I don't believe that a disability is a limit in any sort of way. I think that it encourages you to think in different ways about approaching things, but it can never stop you from doing anything.
I think there's an ingrained kind of stereotype that people have as far as the way things should be, what's normal, what's the way it's supposed to be. And with disability awareness, it challenges that. So where people assume that a person might learn in a certain way and they don't, disability awareness is illuminating other people so that they understand what other people's experiences are.
Think about like, it's trying to like tell them like, you can be different and still be normal. Like, there's nothing different about you. Like, you the same, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but it is trying to like tell them like, it's okay to be you, basically.
I think that disability awareness is something that, I mean, it's been an important part of my life, not necessarily for the people around me, because I've had to advocate for myself. That means that disability awareness, to me, is something that's very much internal, something that I need to understand before I can help others understand.
My brother, he has autism, so like learning about like how to get used to like being with him and knowing like what he wants and stuff, so that kind of like helped me know what a disability was. And then like going to school too, cause like when you see like the ones with disability that's not in like our regular classes, like they like walk in the hallway and stuff, and like they're not like the same as we are. So it kind of like tells me what they do have a disability and stuff.
I wasn't born like this or anything, and I don't think I would mind if it was. Maybe I would be a little bit more understanding more earlier on in my age, but I went through a horrible accident when I was younger, which caused me to have brain injury, which classified me right away. My vision disabilities, physical disabilities, and I did not let that affect me. I didn't want that to affect me. I refused to use the word disability. When someone asked me, I would always like, no, no, no. But then I noticed all these resources available. I mean, people that can help me be in the same pace or try to be in the same pace as everyone else, so I don't feel quite as down as I used to be, because I can't necessarily run, can't necessarily see as far. I may know the answers, but just because of my disability, I can't see it or I can't process it quite as fast.
Well, my sophomore year of high school, I got a traumatic brain injury playing soccer. I got hit in the head several times with the soccer ball, and so at first it gave me really bad headaches, and then it affected my focus, it made me fatigued and nauseous, and I wasn't able to come to school for a while, and I got very behind in my classes. I was in AP classes and I had to drop those, and I was going through a hard time, and my mom and I decided we were going to apply for an IEP, so now.
I have a son, Hans, who when he was 4 weeks old, got what they believe was bacterial meningitis, and he almost died. It started on a Sunday, and Wednesday night we didn't know if he was going to live through the night with that. And so something was attacking his brain, destroying the nerve cells, some sort of meningitis, and his left hemisphere was largely wiped out with that. So he became medically stable, he came home, and obviously was delayed in learning a lot of things, but then it turns out he was having constant seizures in the left hemisphere that were constantly going. So 4 years ago, the doctors at Duke did a left side hemispherectomy. So he's only his right hemisphere is functioning and in communication. So they separated the corpus callosum, I think that's the way you say it, so he's functioning just on his right hemisphere, and that was about 4 years ago. He does not talk. He's vocalizing much more now than he was. He has, so his left hemisphere is messed up, so he has the right side, what they call, I want to say hemiplasia. I'm all of a sudden drawing a blank on it. On that, so right side weakness. His right hand he tends to hold like this, and he can't really do much with it. His left leg he can walk with, but a natural thing is when you're walking around as a person growing up, you're naturally stretching your tendons. So as you get bigger, your muscle was this long, but now your bones are this long, and you stretch the muscles as you go along. But if you're hemiplegic, they don't. That doesn't occur because they're favoring the other leg. So his right leg is shorter than his left, and we have to stretch it every day and try to. So he has difficulty walking.
I'm so far, I have class like CA that help me do my work. Like when I can't do it at home, I can do it in CA class because I work and I do school too. So I can get my work done in CA class. And I have like certain settings so that way if I don't understand something, I can get like help from a teacher, or I can get time extended for like a certain assignments.
Teachers help me with stuff I'm not sure about when I don't. So hey teacher, I can say Miss Bridgers, Miss Hatcher, Miss Shaka, Miss Voss. I'm not sure about this. Can you walk me through this, please? Because I'm not sure. I even say this to a friend. Hey, friend, can you walk me through this?
If I didn't have Miss Bridges' help, I would need help with a lot of stuff.
Right, so a little bit of background. I have a condition called slow processing disorder, and what that means is that essentially I take a little bit more time to understand some concepts than other students might. So while one student might be sitting in the classroom and understand within one single class period and understand a concept well, I would take a little bit more time, maybe a couple of days, in order to process that. But once I do that, I can really understand that concept thoroughly and apply it well. So it's just a different way of thinking. My brain works differently than what most other people would expect. And because of that, I've had to ask teachers to adjust slightly as to how I approach things. I'm going to need a little more time on tests, I need a little more time on an assignment in order to make sure that I can do things right, because otherwise I just don't have enough time to process all that information.
Like, I'm good at social stuff, and I'm good at like reading and stuff. But sometimes I can actually struggle in reading too, because I don't like if it's a word I don't get, like I kind of messes up, and like my teacher would tell me what it is and stuff. So that's like kind of one of my strengths and stuff.
My strengths are like I'm hard worker, and working, like staying focused. Sometimes it's easy depending on like where I'm at, but it's also at the same time hard because I get distracted easily, and so like I guess that would be kind of in the middle between strengths and weaknesses. And one of my weaknesses are studying, because like I'm a very study person. I don't like studying.
My strengths are like writing. I'm a good writer. I can write. I can read, and so far haven't had problems with my eyes. Hadn't had to wear glasses.
I see the world differently because of this. I'm not as well, I never was judgmental, but I mean, I have more understanding towards why people are not grouped, just like in general.
Well, I think that I can't even imagine what it's like, you know, to have a physical disability or any type of disability where like you have to park in a handicapped space, because I don't think I would have that with a traumatic brain injury. And I think it's incredibly disrespectful to take away something that they need to help them with an everyday task, just like parking. I think that everybody's life matters, and you know, it really matters that they can get all the help they need to have a better quality of life.
Because if you're not disabled, you don't really need to park there, because the people who are disabled or like need that parking space, they have a reason, or like they have to have like a past really to prove that they need that parking space because they're hurt. Like my mom, she's in the Army and she hurt her I think it was her knee, and so now she has a parking space because she be in so much pain sometimes that she can't walk and she has to use a cane to like get around because it hurts her.
If they couldn't walk, they probably could park in a parking space. They have one of the wheelchairs they have. They probably could park in that space to use the wheelchair.
I just think that becomes a little bit unfair to those who really do need it. It becomes a matter of, it's at that point when it really becomes a disability, because the reason that we have all of these things put in place, things like IEPs, 504s, all of these different, separate parking spaces, all these different things that we have established are because of these people who have disabilities, who are not able to do something in one particular way. And these spaces, these different programs allow them to do things in a way that's relatively normal, where they don't have to jump through hoops to do something. And to deny them that space, I think, is really what causes that disability. That is what makes them disabled. It is when people who are perfectly capable of doing something refuse to do things in a way that is slightly more difficult for them, because someone who is not capable has something that is able to give them that little bit of an edge to do things at a normal pace.
We are in low.
We are in low.
We are Enlo.
We are Enlo.
We are Enlo.
We are Enlo, and we are excited.